Good morning, Stenner 2. Please make sure you watch the video. It is very important that we watch how to do our work more than one time. We repeat it so that we can get better. Do not skip the video. Watch it. Okay, so we're going to go over number patterns, and let's go ahead and begin. So the first thing that we want to do in our guideline is to look to see if the numbers are getting bigger or smaller. Now we have 115 and there's a blank space, and then we have some other numbers. So I cannot look at 115 by itself because it doesn't have another number for me to pick up the pattern. So I will look from left to right, starting with these sets of numbers that are on the end. So it went from 85 to 75 to 65. That means it's getting smaller, which means they are subtracting. So I'll go ahead and put my subtraction sign. Now let's look at my next guideline. It says to take two numbers that are near each other and subtract them to find the pattern. We want to find what rule they're following. How much are they subtracting? So to find that out, we're going to take two numbers that are near each other. And in this case, the first two numbers that are close by is 85 and 75. So I'm going to put my bigger number on top and subtract my smaller number, and this will tell me how much they are subtracting each time. So let's go ahead and subtract. Numbers the same, zeros the same, more on top, no need to stop. 8 take away 7 is 1. So they are subtracting 10 each time. So now that I know that they are taking away 10, I can figure out my answer for the two blank spaces. So 115 take away 10. If I use my mind, I will find out that that answer will be 105. Now, if I didn't know how to count backwards in my head, you can always set it up, subtract it to find the answer. You could have written 115, take away 10. Let me write that really quickly for the people who need to see that. So I could have written 115, take away 100 and it's going to be take away 10 to find my answer. So 5 take away 0 is 5. Numbers the same, 0 is the game, and I bring down that 1. So my answer would be 105. Now remember, if you need to work it out, you can always use your whiteboard and erase it. That way you are saving paper. But if you need to write it with a pencil and paper, you can use your math book. Find a little area to use as scrap. So now I need to take away 10 more from 105 to find my answer here. So if I already know 105 take away 10 in my head, that is great. I can go ahead and do it in my head. But if I don't know, please take the time to write it down and work it out in your book. You will get 95. Always double check your answers just to make sure. So it went from 115 to 105 to 95, 85, 75, 65. This pattern is correct. Each time they are taking away 10. So that's the rule that they're following. Now I'm not finished. It's asking me, where did they start? They started at 115. That's the first number in the pattern. So that's what I will put there. And how did they count? Did they count front ways, back ways, sideways? How did they count? So in this case, they counted backwards. So we're going to go ahead and write backwards here. Backwards, ARDS. And how much did they count by? Did they count by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Nope, they counted by 10. We went backwards by 10 because each time the number was getting smaller. So that means we're counting backwards, and they counted by 10. So you go ahead and you fill in your 10, and we just finished the first pattern. Now let's take a look at the second one. Second one's a little easier because the numbers are at the beginning, so we don't have to find out the pattern using the ending numbers. So let's go ahead and look from left to right. Is it getting bigger? Is it getting smaller? It went from 300 to 310. It is getting bigger, so they're adding. Now I have to figure out how much are they adding? 1, 2, 10, 15, 100. How much are they adding? So to find that out, I take two numbers that are near, and in this case, I'll use the first two numbers, and I subtract. Always put the bigger number on top and line them up by houses. 310, take away 300, and let me go ahead and subtract. Number is the same, 0 is the game, 1 take away 0 is 1, number is the same, 0 is the game, so my answer is 10. So they are adding 10 each time. So 300 plus 10 is 310, 310 plus 10 is 320, and they are adding 10 each time. Now, if you know how to count in tens, you can easily figure this out. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, you're counting by 10 each time. You're adding 10 each time. So let's go ahead. We have 300, 310, 320. Do you see the pattern? We can easily know that this will be 330 and 340. Now, if you weren't able to work it out in your head, you can always set it up and add 10 so that you can find the answer. Make sure you take your time and try your best. And it is important that you are the one completing this and you're not getting answers from your parents, because remember, you are the one who's going to have to do your check-in by yourself. So we have to learn, and we learn by practicing. Now let's finish. Now, where did we start at? We started at 300, so I'll go ahead and fill in my 300 here. And how did we count? Did we count forwards, backwards? That's right, we counted forwards. So I'm going to go ahead and put forward here. It is a little bit difficult for me to write. You know how it is when we're drawing on a computer. So I'll put forward, and how much did we count by? Did we count by 1, 2, 3, 10, 100? We counted by 10, so I'll put my 10 here. So go ahead over to the next slide and try your best. Bye.